14th, and my name is Bill McCamley. I'm a state representative from Las Cruces and Mesilla here in New Mexico with your legislative update for the day. There's about 6 things I want to go through, so I'll try to go through them fairly quickly to get under my 5-minute limit. First is that a minimum wage bill that was a $9.25 minimum wage failed today in a Senate committee, but a slightly less minimum wage bill for $9 an hour with what we call a training wage passed a House committee and might go to the floor. So what's looking like is that that slightly lower number may be what we go with in terms of getting minimum wage and try to put on the governor's desk. And while this is a lot lower than many of us who support a higher minimum wage would like to see, if there's any way of getting something done through the House and Senate and up to the governor, that's going to be an increase from the current $750 we've got now. That's something that a lot of us really want to try to get done. The hemp bill, we're trying one more time. We figure third time's the charm. The governor has indicated that if we change 3 words in one of our previous hemp bills, that she would consider signing it. So we got it through a committee last night. We got it through the House floor tonight. It goes over to the Senate, and there's a possibility of getting it done in a couple days and getting up there on a last-second vote. If that happens, it's been a priority for a lot of us. We hope she would reconsider, as the economic benefits are obvious, and Republicans are all voting for this thing too, so it's not even a partisan bill. My bill to extend the border hours down in Santa Teresa till midnight and really give ourselves a boost to the economic situation, not only in southern New Mexico, but in the state as a whole, moved to the Senate floor. That's the one that I really am trying to get done personally, and it makes a lot of sense, and I'm hoping it gets time to be heard on the floor and get up to the governor, where once again she has the opportunity to sign or not sign something. On the House floor today, we did 2 kind of bigger things. We passed a law that sets up rules protecting pregnant workers in businesses and asking businesses to set up reasonable accommodations for pregnant women who are working. It passed, actually. There were only a few Republicans that voted against it. I think there were over 50 votes for it. But this is something we should do. If you're pregnant, you should be able to work, and there should be some reasonable things that businesses are asked to do to help you out. We shouldn't discriminate against people just because they decide to start a family. We also passed a version of the Health Securities Act. So as the Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare, is under debate in the federal government right now, and we're looking at what the Republicans have proposed, otherwise known as Trump Care, really rolling back the ability for people in the United States to get protections. That will really affect people here in New Mexico. So we've got to start looking at state strategies of addressing health care. If Republicans in Washington are going to kill a lot of that stuff, how do we make sure that there's the ability to protect people's health care? So the Health Securities Act is a proposal to study the effect of doing one big insurance co-op for the state. And that passed the House floor tonight. This has been in the works for a while. Probably won't go anywhere this year, but it did get to the House floor this year. This is the furthest it's ever got. And I think this whole Trump Care proposal is something that's really spurring interest in trying to get something like this done. The Senate today overrode the governor's veto on a bill that would allow for more sick days for teachers. Now, that's a big deal. No one has ever really overridden a veto since Governor Martinez has been elected. That comes over to the House. There are discussions on our side about whether or not to try a veto override. I honestly would like to. I think that it's important. It's a big piece of legislation. It passed with bipartisan support. The question is, will Republican representatives on our side of the aisle vote to override a veto? And that's a question that we don't know. We are getting indications that they probably won't, but those discussions will go forward. And the last thing of the day is my biggest disappointment, that the governor chose to that she chose to veto a bill that would have allowed computer science to count as a math or a science credit in New Mexico high schools. This is something that 33 other states are doing. It's a really good educational plan that will allow New Mexican students to compete in a 21st century economy. It was backed by teachers and businesses and the governor's own Department of Education. I mean, we called it legislative bingo because all these groups that normally don't like each other were all lining up to support it. And the governor chose to veto it. And it's really disappointing and sad and frustrating. And it makes you wonder, what all that work that you put in is worth. I mean, she didn't give a reason in her veto. And we're hearing all these rumors that it could be because she's angry at the override on the Senate side, or she's angry that the Senate is not putting in the regents that she wants, or that there's not an educational thing she wants. But this was good policy that even her people liked. And so that's really hard. And it made us really frustrated, a lot of us today. So anyways, I'm in my limit, so thanks for watching. Things are going to start getting hot and heavy in the last 3 days of the session. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns on these or any of the issues, I'd love to answer them, and I'll be back at you tomorrow night. Thanks.